Before we get on with the rest of this video, I would like to point out to you there is a special URL in my down below area. If you click on it, it will take you to a page where you can enter a competition with MSI. It's tied into the trip I'm taking to win one of 18 brand new MSI motherboards for the new Ryzen series. Also, if you scroll down from that place where you enter in your own little social media shot of the thing, you'll find a collection of the stuff from influencers like me. So go down there, find my content, vote on it, and I don't know exactly what that purpose is for, but it seems like a good idea if you go there and vote on my stuff. I don't know what that means. I get a special hat from MSI at the end of the trip, or, you know, extra beer with dinner. I don't know. But it seems like something you should be doing for me. Don't you think? Please? Well then, hello again, I am Blunty. Some of you may be pleased to know that on this channel there will be an ramping up is the correct way to say it, up-ramping. I'm going to be doing more photography stuff again. And there are two main reasons that the photography stuff has sort of dropped off on my channel. I used to do a ton of it, then it sort of gradually trickled away. There are two main reasons for that. Number one is the industry as a whole got kind of a little bit boring. There wasn't a lot of advancement going on. It kind of plateaued, so I was personally a little less excited about what was going on in the industry. Second reason, of course, is because I was working with a local camera store chain, Didnt, to produce a series of videos for them to promote their brand and sales and stuff like that. So a lot of my camera-based energy was going into making those videos. But as some of you may have noticed, I haven't done any Didnt stuff for the past several months, so my arrangement with those guys has ended, basically. So going forward, any energy I have for camera reviews and things like that can go into my own personal channel again. That may ramp up kind of slowly because a lot of the PR contacts and relationships I had for getting camera review gear have atrophied a bit in the intervening years, because of course when I was doing the stuff for Didnt, I was just getting the gear straight from the store itself. Didn't need to talk with the PR people. Anyway, that's just kind of a long-winded way to say that going forward there's going to be a better balance between the PC stuff, the gamer stuff, the general tech stuff, and the camera stuff again on my channel. So hooray! And I guess welcome back to anyone who subbed, because they subbed just purely for the camera stuff and not realizing that my channel has always been about doing variety anyway, because if I do the same thing over and over and over again, I get bored of doing it. And if I get bored of doing it, that means I'm not putting in my best effort, which means the videos themselves get crap. You don't want me to do the same thing over and over and over again. You've seen other channels that just have sort of one gimmick, and over the years they just sort of peter out because they get bored and they don't know how to move on to do something different, because they've trained their audience to expect just one thing all the time, and if I do something different the audience freaks out. Well, never wanted that to happen with my channel. Always variety, always what I'm personally passionate about. If I'm not excited about it, I don't make a video about it. But all that rambling aside, as many of you will already know, I'm going on a flight to Austin, Texas in 24 hours from when I'm recording this right now. I'll be on the plane, as a matter of fact. So I thought, in celebration of the camera stuff returning in force to my channel, I would take you through my gear bag, what I'm taking with me. And I've been on many of these trips throughout the years and done a lot of travel and you know, expo and convention and trade shows and you know, this kind of trip, which is a sort of a media junket, they used to call them. I don't know whether that's still the term. But as the years have gone on, the amount of gear that I take with me, the amount of gear that I find necessary, that I find useful, that I find I'm actually using justifiably frequently enough to carry it with me, because I don't like carrying a lot of gear. It's heavy and we've got a bad back and bad knee. I'd rather stay ultra mobile and ultra light. So what I'm taking with me on this trip is probably my lightest kit out to date. And if we're coming up on 9 AM now, if when I check my bank account at 9 AM, I have a payment in there that I'm expecting to get, I will be buying a brand new camera to take on this trip, which is always a dangerous idea. Never buy your camera a day before you travel. This is an exception because the camera I'm getting is a direct upgrade for the camera I have been using for a couple of years now. And interface wise and feature set wise, it's very similar. So the learning curve to get me up and running properly so I can do my best work on it is going to be very small. So with all that said, on the assumption that the payment's going in and I'm on my way to buy the camera right now, the next cut you're going to see is me back at my desk, and I'm going to take you through what gear I'm taking to Texas. Guys, The morning I had, unbelievable. Just every possible thing that could slow me down or distract me or not go right or anything. Everything just went absolutely wrong in the most frustrating ways, and I was trying very, very hard to keep calm, successfully for the most part. The most comedic of time-wasting errors involved picking up the new camera. Eventually, the money went through eventually. It took like 2 more hours than I expected. I had to talk to the bank. But then, I went to the store. I said, hey, I was looking around, to see if there was anything else I wanted to pick up at the same time. And someone came over and said, how can I help you? So yes, you can absolutely help me. You can pop into the background. You can grab me a brand new Panasonic Lumix G85. I'm going to be buying one in just a second. As soon as I take a lap around the store or two. She went, no problem. She went and got one. So I met her at the register, and on the table there, as she was typing in the computer, was a Panasonic GH5. Not the G85, GH5. Easy mistake to make. Maybe I mumbled. She misheard me. She wasn't listening properly. So I said to her, no, sorry, you've actually brought out the wrong camera there. That's the GH5. I'm to the G85. So she went, oh, no, I'm sorry. It's a silly mistake. And we laughed about it. She went back out to the store and came back with a much smaller box. Except it wasn't the G85 yet. It was the GF8. Not entirely sure how that mistake got made, but, they both have 8 in the name. They both have G in the name. It's just slightly different. This is partly Panasonic's fault too. Their naming system has gotten a little bit out of control, really. It's getting really hard, even for people who try and stay in the loop, much less people who work in the stores, to keep everything straight about which model number belongs to which. Is the GF8, GX8, G85, GH5. So third time lucky, I said no. Actually, what I wanted was the G85. Oh, I'm sorry. And she went, I'll go out. She went out in the back room. She went to go and fetch it. Came back out empty-handed. I went, so I'm sorry. We're supposed to have 3, but I can't find them anywhere. I think the last one we have might be the display model. So she went to check the shelf to make sure the display model was there. She got the box, made sure all the bits was there. I said, well, actually, I'm after the body only because I've already got this lens here, which I'll tell you about the suns in a second when we go through the rest of the gear. Just want the body only. So she said, oh, okay, well, I'll break up the kit. So she took out the kit lens and everything. After all the trouble and confusion and the fact that I got the display model, which has only been sitting on the shelf for like a week anyway, because, it's a very well-selling camera, so it had a bit of, fingerprints on it and everything, but she gave me a brand new battery off the shelf and everything, so I wasn't getting the shop demo battery or anything like that, so that was all good. But we got there in the end, and I got it at a pretty damn good price, because of all the shelf units. So yeah, that's the tale of getting. That's not the entire tale. I went up to the counter. I went to swipe in my FPOS card, and it turns out somewhere a little while back, my bank, as a security measure, have altered the minimum sort of the maximum amount you can spend on your card per day. This is not just me, but every account. For fraud prevention. So if someone steals your card, they can't spend more than $1,000 a day, which is kind of ridiculous. So I tried to call the bank, and there was a half-hour waiting line thing. So we can call you back automatically to save you the 30-minute wait. So I walked down to my friggin' bank branch, withdrew the cash, walked back to the camera store, finally purchased the goddamn camera. The lady who helped me, she was busy with another customer, so she had to try a couple of times to get someone else in the store to actually finally sell me this. So just getting the camera itself was just it was an epic journey of Roman proportions. But I have it now. So let me tell you about it, why I wanted it, and all the rest of the gear I'm taking with me as well. Okay, so the first time I tried to record this, it went for like 25 minutes, so let's try and get it done a bit quicker, shall we? Okay, so my main travel filming kit, as of a few hours ago, thanks to the new camera, it is now the G85. It replaces my ever-trusty G7. Image quality will basically be the same, including the 4K video, but what I get now from the G85 that I didn't get from my G7 is Panasonic's new 5-axis in-body stabilization, and as someone who shoots run-and-gun handheld almost exclusively when out and about, this makes a huge difference, including opening up some lens choice options that I haven't used much since switching to the G7 because of its complete lack of built-in stabilization. I can finally bring some of my lovely prime telephotos back into the mix. Hooray! It also means I can cut way back on the amount of support gear I used to carry to help me get the best out of the G7.
The G85 is also built even stronger with a magnesium alloy frame, and it is weather sealed. The G7 is not weather sealed. Also, the G85 has unlimited record time, where the G7 had that dumb 30-minute limit. Grr. As I did with the G7, I'm teaming the G85 with what is basically the best all-rounder lens for the system, full stop. It's Panasonic's 12-35 constant aperture f2.6 zoom. In full-frame terms, it is basically the ever-classic, indispensable, irreplaceable 24-70. It is also weather-sealed, so now lens and camera body are weather-sealed. Hooray! As a support camera, while I would usually go for my Sony RX100 Mark II, this time around, for the first time ever since I got the RX100, I'm not taking it with me. I will instead be using my iPhone 7 Plus to do the job. I've actually used this particular iPhone model way more than any previous model for video, and that's really saying something because I do use iPhones a lot in the production of my content. The massive upgrade to the front-facing camera in particular finally made the iPhone a practical vlogging camera. And the rear camera, or cameras in this case, are of course fantastic. I will also be testing out 2 new iPhone camera accessories for this trip to expand the capabilities, and also to make up for the low light limitations of the iPhone, especially compared with my usual go-to pocket rig, the RX100 Mark II, which is just fantastic in low light. I will go over these 2 accessories in more detail in their own review videos after I've tested them on the trip, but basically there's this case which has both front and back LED lights on it, should prove interesting. Also this new lens system, for which I have a very nice wide-angle lens. In fact, it is what I was using in the outdoors intro for this video. It's all metal and glass and very high quality, and it may just be the best wide-angle adapter lens I've ever tried for the iPhone yet, but time will tell. The trip will put it to the test. Also missing from my kit alongside the RX100 Mark II is the GoPro Hero 3 Black I usually travel with. I'm hoping that the wide-angle lens for the iPhone will fill in much of what I use the GoPro for on trips like this. Although I do have to admit I'm feeling a bit of trepidation in leaving behind the ever-trusty RX100 Mark II and the GoPro, both of which have just been invaluable over the years. But you gotta move on at some point, I guess. Plus, both the iPhone and the G85 are 4K shooters, while the Mark II and GoPro Hero 3 Black are not 4K shooters. Because now I'm sliding into making my full production workflow 4K. Even though I'll still be publishing most stuff in 1080p, 4K source material gives me some very useful post-production editing options. When it comes to microphones, my on-camera mic will, as usual, be the amazing little Rode Video Micro, for which I also have the conversion cable for using it with my iPhone and the Lightning port adapter. Though for the most part, in fairly controlled conditions, the iPhone's own onboard mics do amazingly well. Certainly better than the onboard mics on the Lumix. And again, that's what you heard at the start of this video. On the rare occasion I need a lapel-style mic, I also have my MyMic sports mic. For the support gear, I've got this tiny but surprisingly powerful iBlazer LED light, a pair of mini tripods, a selfie stick, not for selfies, but very useful for getting some extra reach sometimes. And finally, I'm still undecided on if I'll take the 2 powered stabilizer gimbals, both of which I have reviewed, and the iPhone one, which I've modified with more counterweight so it can be used with that big, heavy accessory lens and balanced properly. But frankly, the iPhone 7 Plus's own stabilization is pretty damn good, and this afternoon I'll be testing the G85's performance a bit more in that regard too. It has the in-body stabilization paired with the lens stabilization, which now work in tandem, so I may not even need either of these stabilizers to get lovely, smooth, good-looking footage. I'll go still update you on one of the next vlogs on the trip.
So there you go, that's sort of, I was going to say in a nutshell, but this has been a hell of a long rambly video. But that's the gear bag. That's what I'm taking on the trip. Like slimmed down from what I usually take significantly. So I'm a bit worried about not taking the RX100 because I use the RX100 a lot on the last few trips, especially the trip to London, the Taipei trip. I used the RX100 quite a lot, and it was superb. But I want to get to a full 4K workflow, and sadly the RX100 Mark II does not do that. And of course, going along with this is the usual collection of, the cables and headphones and adapters and things like that, and travel adapter for the power and all that kind of stuff you would usually take on a trip. But as far as what I'm carrying in my camera bag when I'm going out for the day for the shoot and whatnot, that's basically it. So, any questions? You know what to do. Go to my down below area, have a poke around. Thanks for watching. I'm Blunty, and we'll catch you next time. And again, don't forget, there is a special URL in the down below area which you can go to vote on my content, please. You can also enter a competition there to win one of 18 MSI motherboards.